We're standing in the middle of a very loud THQ booth. I just walked by the Iceman out there, which was a big deal for me. But we've also got a lot of big games in here, and one of them is Metro Last Light. So you might have played the last game, Metro 2033, of course based on a novel. What do you want to achieve with the sequel, and what kind of ideas went through your minds, and what do you feel about the first game that you wanted to change or switch up?
Sure. So Metro Last Light is the direct sequel to Metro 2033. It's an original story that's been developed by the studio. You're back in the boots of Artyom, the protagonist from the original, and the broad context is a civil war is brewing in the Metro as the various factions are on the move, trying to take control of this doomsday device, and you're thrust into that as Artyom. And you know, for us, Metro 2033 was a real cult hit. We had a huge, really passionate fan base who I think really love what we did differently with this game. It's this kind of really potent mix of survival horror and exploration, atmosphere and immersion, as well as the combat. And what we've really tried to do with the sequel is, first of all, stay absolutely true to that original vision of what that balance of gameplay is like. But mainly what you saw in this demo was us trying to show how we've really addressed some of the valid criticisms of the first game. So we've completely retooled our combat, our AI, our stealth systems. You know, they were held up as being weaknesses from the first title, and these are the kind of things that we're really trying to address.
So, but I agree with you. I think most people who did end up playing the first game were happy with it, and that it did something different, and that it wasn't your typical action style game that we get so many different of at E3. What do you feel personally it is about Metro that stands out?
I think mostly it's our game world. I mean, this is a really unique world to play in, this ruined post-apocalyptic Moscow, and you see post-apocalypse told in many games and films, but always from that Western perspective. And the Western vision of the post-apocalyptic world is, you know, very cyberpunk, very kind of Mad Max in stylings, you know, bandits out in the desert kind of thing. Or it has like a real sci-fi leaning, like in the Terminator, for instance. The enemy there is it's a machine, it's a robot, it's a human construct. It's very scientific. It can be, you know, it behaves very rationally. What we have with this Eastern European vision, this Russian vision of the game, is you know, this mix of gritty post-Soviet realism, but it's tempered with centuries of Eastern European folklore and mysticism. So there's this huge supernatural edge to the game. There are ghosts and spirits in the tunnels. There's this, you know, this supernatural phenomena there, and it's quite a heady mix that you don't really see in any other game. And also, just in terms of the gameplay, I think what 4A are really masters of is that sense of immersion that you get within the game, whether that's delivered through the technology that we have or just like the pacing and the way they tell the story. It just feels very unlike any other game out there.
You mentioned that this time around it's an original story. Has that sort of opened up a little bit more freedom for the developers to where they're going with the game?
Yeah, well, I mean, 2033 was a great blueprint for a video game. It was like a combination of road trip and coming of age story as you played as Artyom, and he started off as this, you know, young, naive boy and had this massive responsibility put upon his shoulders. In this game, you're in the boots of Artyom once more. He's a little older and wiser. He's been taken under the wing of the Order of Rangers, and it just, yeah, it opens up a whole range of possibilities for us.
Could you go into any specifics of what you're showing behind us here at E3?
So the demo you've seen today, I mean, we're pre-alpha right now, so we've taken a few pieces from various levels through the game, and we've put them together to kind of create this Metro experience, a really action-heavy sequence, let's say, that kind of shows off the combat and the stealth and some of our new weapons in particular. It also really showcases the improvements we've made to our lighting, which was already pretty sophisticated. We've also added a lot more dynamic destruction into the game, which really transforms the feel of the combat. So these are probably the two things that you'll really notice.
So you made an appearance as well at the Nintendo press conference. Is there anything you can say about the Wii U and what you're aiming with that?
Yeah, I can't say too much about that right now, but other than like we were thrilled to be included up with some great other games in that showreel.
Looking forward to playing Metro Last Light. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.